Hi everyone, welcome to the Spiritual Empowerment and Personal Power Journey 30-day program I've designed to help you feel happier, healthier, wealthier, and open up your spiritual journey and give you some grounded practical tools that can help you in that process. It can mean different things to different people, but usually it's about a whole big change process that is taking place. For some people, overnight, and for most of us over the course of our lifetime or even a few years. So, do you want to understand more about how to use the science and spirit of breath using breath work to transform the mind and body? If so, stay tuned in. So, there's been many times over the course of my career where I didn't realize that I was not just breathing properly, but holding my breath especially when I was stressed. So, like many of us, we'd work, be in the office and on the laptop or the computer and be typing away and be so engrossed in what we're doing, but at the same time, had multiple tasks on at the same time that we could, as I did, I used to just start typing and then realize all of a sudden that I've been holding my breath without realizing. And that's one of the things that was a sign that I was getting hyper stress and I needed some time out. And at that time, I didn't always listen to the good advice that said, get up, go for a walk, take some breaths, because you get locked into, no, I need to finish this now, and you get more and more stress, not realizing I'm cutting off the very life force that was protective to me. So, and breath is life. It literally is your life force. And it's one of the most immediate and accessible ways to transform your state of mind and body. And recently I did a workshop in Kent and I was teaching people some very simple tools that was able to shift their state. But the first one we've got to notice really is breath. It's one of the most powerful. And I practice more breath work in particular since I started doing Kundalini yoga, because there's a lot of flow breath, breath of fire, ocean breath, alternate nasal breathing, and they all activate different sorts of experiences within the body. But it's interesting when you practice it, how much better you breathe throughout your day, after learning that you're not breathing that well and the effect that it has on you. Because some people say when I start doing breath work with them, I feel really dizzy, and it's often, we've just been cutting off the oxygen supply to the body because we're just breathing from our chest and not allowing the breath to go deep and be breathing from our diaphragm. So scientific studies show that conscious breathing can activate the parasympathetic nervous system, reducing stress and anxiety, for lowering blood pressure and improving mood. And what I often say to clients is, when I see their stress, is breathe. So they're telling me a story and it's really stressful and and I'm like, okay, right. When there's a moment, I'll stop them and say, right now, breathe. Because they're holding on to their feelings, they're holding back the tears. And there's this sort of stress response in the body that's building up and getting stronger and stronger. And so I'll stop and then we'll look at that breath. And first of all, I'll say 3 deep breaths, slow down. We don't have to get caught in the story. Slow down, take the deep breaths, because I want to start teaching them how to switch out the stress response system into the calm response system, which is the parasympathetic nervous system. And that is activated more frequently if we've experienced, stress and trauma. So I'm going to pull up the card associated with this because I can't find them all in my deck, but I still wanted to show you. So this is the Ace of Swords. So it's different than some of the other tarot decks, but this is how breath can support us, but also interfere in even our basic thinking processes. So let me describe a little bit about what I mean. So as I said, breath is life, and we need to know whether or not we're breathing properly to start with, let alone doing extra breath work, like when we deepen our meditation practice, which tends to enhance energy flow and shift consciousness. So the Ace of Swords invites you to use your breath as a tool for clarity and power. So when we breathe properly and we come out of the stress response, we actually get back into our cognitive prefrontal cortex mind. And then that enables us to tap into the tools and clarity. When we get stress, it wipes us out. And so that's why we can't think properly when we're stressed. So today, try and become aware of your breath and the practice simple techniques like box breathing, nostril breathing to anchor yourself. So the affirmation for this is my breath connects me to peace and power within. So the Ace of Swords, as I said, represents clarity, new ideas, mental focus for cutting through confusion. Breathwork is a powerful tool that can clear your mental fog, reduce stress, and reconnect you in the present moment of awareness. So if you're at work and you're really stressed, sometimes you have to practice this to really get a feel for why it's good and why it's important. So if we looked at alternate nostril breathing, for example, that they practice in yoga, what you might want to do is put your, I can't do it today. I was rolling, had a paint roller yesterday, and so I've got my hand muscles are really tight. So basically, you put the right thumb across the right nostril and you inhale through the left. And then you close the left nostril and release the right nostril and exhaling through the right. And then inhale through the right and then exhale through the left. And then inhale through the left and exhale through the right. So that's one of the practices that you can do. The other one is the 4-4-4 breathing, where you breathe in and out. And now we breathe in. So I've got some allergies, so I can't breathe properly through my nose today, but most people, it works better if you breathe through your nose. But if you can't, breathe through your mouth. So we breathe in for 4, hold it for 4, breathe out for 4. So you breathe in and breathe out. Now, when I first started breathing techniques, when I was stressed all the time, I really struggled to breathe in for 4, hold it for 4, and breathe out. Sometimes you have to start with 2 or 3. So just be aware that as you practice this, you'll get better at it. So you breathe in and breathe out. So you want to do at least 3 or 4 rounds because on a physiological level, you're tapping into that parasympathetic nervous system that helps you reduce stress and anxiety. And you can hear my voice starts to slow down when I'm in a more present, calm state. When I got stressed, I used to talk probably twice the speed. So these are experiences that you can start to try yourself. And what I found with the right and left nose nostril breathing was actually what can happen is in the research, it says on average, we can focus on any one particular task for between 90 and 150 minutes. And after that, we can struggle to focus on it. And we can often work out whether we're in right or left brain by which nostril is free. So when we get to that level of task where we start to feel a bit, oh, I can't come up with any ideas, I'm struggling on this essay or this report that I'm writing, practice the right and left nostril breathing or go for a walk, sit in the garden on a bench, practice the left and right nostril breathing. And that can sometimes help activate other parts of the brain or just get some oxygen back in there so you can have a second wind. You have to practice, you have to play around with these things to see how you experience it. And if you're new to it, you need to play around with it at least every day just to get the experience of it and then start to build up that mental muscle. So your journal prompt is, how does your breath feel right now? So when you tune in, are you breathing from shallow, from your chest, or are you feeling your belly rise? So you should really feel your belly rise and then fall. How does it feel when you do it a second time? And then fall. And the third time, you start to feel it getting easier. Then what emotions arise when you focus on your breathing deeply? So I'm feeling calm. How are you feeling? You feeling angry and upset because you're doing something and you're struggling with it? Or have you got something at the back of your mind and it's piercing your consciousness? So just take a note of that, because these questions are useful to ask yourself on a daily basis. And how can conscious breathing support you during stressful moments? So as I said, when you're really stressed, it's good to get up and move. If you've been on a task 90 to 150 minutes, that definitely needs a mind break. If you're just generally stressed, you've had a letter, you've got some worries going on, then practicing breathing can slow it down. The problem is that when it's activated by, say, like a letter from the gas or electric, or, you know, I did a few weeks ago, I accidentally drove in a bus lane and I get this letter that says that I have to pay a certain amount. And so initially you have a response to that, don't you? Like, you know, and then you have to tap into your adult brain, not the irritated child, angry brain, um, with whatever it is that goes through your mind at the time. And then calm that stress down. Okay, I'll be fine. It will sort itself out. Or you find some other ways of dealing with whatever the issue that comes up for you. But if you're just generally feeling stressed and you don't know why, if you one of the good places to practice it is on your bed at night. Is slow down your breathing. You lay on your bed and you just imagine that you're doing a flow, ocean flow breath, where you breathe in and imagine that it's coming from your feet to the top of your head, and you breathe out from the top of your head, right down your feet and up again. So I've now put a visual with it. When you're on your bed, it can really help you relax and get a much deeper sleep. And make sure that when you go to bed, that you don't think about all the things that have happened at work. Only allow yourself to consider 3 things that went well. Anything that's bothering you, put in your journal, write a list, put the notes on the side of the bed, leave them there, focus on your breath so you can go into a deep relaxation, and even play some frequency music or relaxing music so that you can get into that deep sleep. So the way to expand on it further is to go online and have a look at different breathing techniques and practice those. Go to yoga, because most yoga teachers also include breath work in their work. Set up some kickstart sessions with me and we can go through some of the basics so that you can use these skills to reduce your stress, keep you in your clear thinking mind, and help you manage some of the things that disrupt your ability to stay focused and on track. And what we know in the research is that multiple studies confirm breathwork effect in lowering cortisol, which is the stress hormone, enhancing heart rate variability, the marker of resilience, and improving mental clarity. So breath-based meditation supports emotional regulation and neuroplasticity. So that means if you struggle to manage your emotions, over time, focusing on breath work, meditation, and mindfulness will help you get better at regulating your emotions quicker, coming out of stress quicker, calming your system quicker, and also creating those new neural pathways, which is neuroplasticity. So the song recommended is Breathe Me by Sia and Breath, the New Science of the Lost Art by James Nestor. Or go online and look at some of the YouTube videos. And there's a website or app called Insight Timer. And they've got lots of meditations and mindful practice where you can focus on breath, do breath work. And there's a few people, it's just about finding someone that you like listening to, and whose work you like, and giving it a go or paying for a short course and just focusing on improving that, because it can make a big difference. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen. And hopefully you've enjoyed today's video and enjoyed the practical. In my workshops and in my one-to-one work, I go much deeper so I can work out where you're at personally, help you create a plan so that you can move forward with confidence and get over any of the things that you're struggling, that you find difficult. So I look forward to seeing you at some point soon. Like and subscribe if you haven't already.